Hello, hello, hello. We are live. I want to welcome everybody to another edition of Mannimal Research show we put on every week, every Wednesday night, talking any and all things Bigfoot. I am joined tonight, as always, by the lovely and talented Mr. Ricky Weaver. How's it going tonight, Ricky?
Going good, man. I was just going to show
Good.
you a copy of one of our flyers here that I made up. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Yeah, I can. That looks good. Is that laminated or?
Yeah, laminated.
Yeah, yeah, it looks good. What Ricky's holding up there is we're going to start putting some flyers out, um, advertising our Bigfoot expeditions that we're going to be offering, that we're getting ready to offer up. You know, we're actually we're taking interest now. We're taking people now that want to go out, trying to set up our first trip. Actually, yeah, that looks good, Rick.
Thank you, man.
All right, now first of all, get the usual stuff out of the way. I want to welcome everybody that's watching it now, and those of you that are going to watch it later. We certainly appreciate it. We appreciate it a lot, and I want to ask, as always, if you haven't already and you like what you see, guys, hit that subscribe button. We're most of y'all know us, or a lot of y'all know us. We're a new group trying to get our name out there and make a name for ourselves, and we're hungry. We're trying to get this thing started, and we're off to a good start, I believe. So, guys, help us out. Hit that subscribe button. You can also go over to, and we ask that you go over to our website, mannimalresearch.com. You can actually find some more information on those outings that I was talking about over there, and contact us, and we can go over pricing. And our prices aren't set in stone. We'll work with people. All the money that we raise from doing that is going to go toward paying for those expeditions and to further our research. Everything that we've done so far, all the equipment that we have paid for out of our pocket, and we pay for our website out of our pocket, and the system to go live to you guys each week on here, that's not free either. We're having to pay for that. A basic version of it is free, but we've got the upgraded version. Wanting to bring you guys the best show that we can, and we're new. We're learning as we go. But guys, go check out our website and subscribe for us if you don't mind. All that being said, Ricky, what you got going on, buddy? I heard you did some camping not long ago.
Yeah, I went up and done a couple of nights camp out. Like I said, they had something come down off the mountain up there and getting into some feed barrels and harassing some chickens, of course, in the yards up there. And I went up, checked it out. Like I said, put out a couple of trail cams. Problem is, right now it's wet down here, man. I walked the area out good, looking for tracks, but the way it's been, you just ain't gonna find no tracks in this kind of weather.
I know it, man. It don't seem like it's ever going to stop raining. We had some real bad weather just a couple hours north of me, actually, in Nashville. I'm sure everybody by now has heard about the devastation that went on up there, and just want to send my thoughts up that way to all the people that are going through that. It's terrible. I know there's been several casualties involved in that. It's just terrible, and my thoughts and my prayers are with those people.
Right, I've got some good friends that live just north of or Nashville, and haven't heard anything from them this week. I've dropped them a couple of lines on Facebook, and still haven't heard anything back from them. Mr. Tim Griffin and his wife. Tim, if you're listening, man, I hope you are okay, and please get in touch with me and let me know.
Yeah, yeah, that's an awful thing, man. People just out living their life, and Mother Nature comes through with different plans, and changes everybody's plan, changes their plans for the rest of their life, and it's not a good thing. But yeah, just hope everybody is okay and we get them the kind of help that they need. Also, just something real quick I wanted to throw out there that goes along the lines of our funding. And again, anything that we sell, any no activities that we do where we're asking for money, that money is going to go toward our group. It's going to go toward funding um, other trips. It's funding our research. Getting better and more up to date equipment and stuff. And I honestly do get asked all the time what I do for my beard. Y'all can tell I have a beautiful, beautiful beard. I'm not above telling y'all that. But yeah, I mean, I use beard oil every day. I use beard balm every day. And what I've started doing was I decided to start making my own. So the last little bit, I've been using my own beard balm, and I've got some made up. I'm actually going to start putting for sale on our website. That's the peppermint flavor, and that's one of the problems I've always had with buying beard balm is it didn't have much of a smell or it had a medicine-y smell, and that's what I'm trying to get away from. So that one's peppermint, and this one is original. And I love it so far. I mean, I'm not just saying it because I'm the one making it, but I like it better than the stuff that I've been buying in the store. And my fiance and her sister, they're big into health and skincare and makeup and all that. And they've actually been using it on their skin as kind of a moisturizer. And I've been using it a little bit on mine. It leaves your skin real soft. So, yeah, I mean, that's my little spill right there. I'm going to be putting that up on the website. Going to be selling those. They'll come in 2-ounce tins. And I think I'm going to sell them for $10 a piece, which is cheaper than you can usually find out there, and be a couple dollars for shipping. But just guys, look for those here before long. We should have those up and going. All right. All of that being said, tonight we have a special guest for you guys, Mr. Chris Kleier. Chris comes to us from Missouri. Lives out there, and he's had a couple of up close and personal encounters with the big guys. Some pretty scary ones actually. And Chris has also been doing his own research out there, and he has formed the Missouri Bigfoot Group. He is the founder out there doing his own research, taking in encounters. People are letting him know what's going on in their property, and he's checking it out for them, doing a good job. And we are happy, very happy to welcome Chris onto the show. Chris, how's it going, buddy?
Going good. How are you?
Yeah, we're doing good. Doing good. Just talked you up just a little bit. You want to, well, one of the first things I ask our guests is, before your first encounter, what was your knowledge of Bigfoot, and were you a believer? And I asked you that, and buddy, I'll give you the floor. Just go ahead and walk us into your encounter.
All right. Well, my first encounter happened when I was 15. I used to love paranormal shows and anything on Bigfoot, Loch Ness, whatever. But as of, having like a Bigfoot or Sasquatch around, I mean, come on, I was in the woods alone my first encounter. So obviously, it really wasn't on my radar. I had heard of it and watched shows, but, being a kid or a young teen,
You had other stuff on your mind.
It didn't matter. Back then I was a city kid. Didn't really care anything other than cars and pretty girls. And I've changed direction in a lot of that. Still like pretty girls though. Mm-hmm. So my first encounter was in Springfield, Missouri, and I still live in the surrounding area. And I had left the house one day. It was midsummer. It was hot, humid, and there was a creek a few blocks away, across a field through a tree line that me and the neighborhood kids would go play in. And I was alone, and I had walked. I had crossed the field, got through the tree line almost to the creek, and I could hear something splashing around in the creek. And so I thought, sweet, I'm not alone. It's hot. There's other kids down here or whatever. The main thing, nobody likes to be alone, right? So I was alone. And the way this happened, so there's a big field, a tree line, and then a creek, but it opens up around the creek. It's not, the line doesn't butt up right against the creek. So there's a little bit of a 25-foot clearing between, the tree line and the creek. And Missouri, there's a ton of flat rocks here. So I get to the creek, almost to the creek, and there is a huge creature. I say orangutan. I mean, it was bright orange creature sitting on this flat rock, like squatted down, had his right arm extended, right hand slapping the water, splashing around it. And I stood there. I mean, I didn't know what to think. Why is this person wearing a suit? Don't they know it's hot out here, or, giant monkey, what's this monkey doing here? I really, my frame of reference was giant orangutan. So, I really didn't know. The Seine was playing in the water. He had tangled up grass and leaves on his shoulder and his back. I mean, he was kind of nasty looking. But he's an animal or something close to an animal. I must have either stepped on a stick or something. I don't know. I got his attention. He kind of like turned his head like that, just a little bit, just enough to see over his shoulder. And then like almost did a double take and stood up and turned his body as, he turned his head, good. I say 10 to 15 feet away. I mean, it was literally feet. He wasn't very far at all. Saw everything from top of his head to the top of his feet. Like I said, he was standing on a big flat rock. So, I mean,
now, you said that he was like slapping the water and stuff like that. Do you think he was fishing?
I don't know if he was fishing. I don't know if he was playing. When I was on Bigfoot Odyssey, they asked if maybe it was like a kid playing in the water. And I referenced, well, you see little 1 or 2 year olds, when they're playing in the pool or a water fountain or whatever, they slap the water and they just kind of like, almost like they don't know how to interact with it, so they slap it around and I want to say that's what it was doing. Maybe it was bored. It was definitely hot, humid, maybe it was just down there playing.
Okay.
I mean,
how tall was the guy? And was it a male, would you say?
He was a male. I saw, let's just say, he was definitely a male. Okay. 7.5 foot tall. I'm 6'1" now. I know it was taller than me. I don't really know how tall I was at 15. I'm 37 now. So, but I would say, I played basketball. I was tall and skinny. So, but it was about 7.5 foot tall. I mean, it was big. It wasn't fat. Looked like a hairy Michael Jordan, like tall, lanky. You could see the skin through the arms and through the chest. It was like a dark brown to almost black, leathery, just oily, nasty looking skin.
Okay, I want to come back to the description because I have other questions about it. But once it stood up, once it saw you and it stood up, what happened next?
Stood there and stared at me, and I stared at it, and I don't know, like the look on its face almost was, oh crap, you saw me, or like almost, it was like shock, but confusion too. Maybe like, what is that? Or, I can't believe you surprised me. I can't believe I let you walk up on me, and, the whole time I'm staring like, what is that?
Did it vocalize at all?
It did not. It did not move his lips. I mean, it was like he froze and stared at me. And, I did the same thing. And, I don't know how long we stared at each other. I'm assuming it was fight or flight that kicked in. I fell down about halfway home. But in my mind, I was still standing there watching this thing. So, he literally took a step towards me. And, I've had years think he was 10 to 15 feet away, and they take huge strides. I mean, so he definitely closed the distance. He was about halfway from where he was standing when he took that step, So when I say, when I ran off, because that's what happened, I mean, he could have easily reached out an arm, reached out his hand and grabbed me. I mean, he could have had me.
Wow. Yeah.
And so,
So he took a step toward you and you ran.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, I bounced off the ground halfway home, and I kind of shook my head because I was coming out of this, I thought I was standing there, and when I fell, he
one of our listeners, one of our viewers there has a good question for you. Did you notice the smell?
Yes, I did. Like I said, it was a humid, hot day. It was skunky, smelled urine, BO, just kind of a nasty smell. But, being a city kid, in my mind, that was just a dirty skunk, now that I've spent a lot of time in the woods, and whatever, you could definitely present me a skunk smell and this smell, and I could say, no, it was this one, but, back then it was just a skunk's a skunk, a deer's a deer, no reference really for, Bigfoot or wildlife or being in the woods other than, just little trips out there to play.
Yeah. Okay. Now, so it stood up, took a step toward you, and you ran. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I would say there was more to happen if I could remember. But there was definitely a missing time from the moment he took a step towards me to when I hit the ground. But, was it seconds?
So you don't remember?
No. Was it seconds? Was it minutes? I would think that it was fight or flight, and I took off running before my head could catch up, or whatever. But I don't remember. I saw the step, and like I said, fell down about halfway home and thought, what's going on,
Wow.
Chris, could you tell?
Okay.
Could you tell when you took off running? Could you tell that whether this thing actually was chasing you or anything of that nature?
No, like when I fell down and I kind of shook my head, shook it off, I remember looking over my right shoulder because I thought it had grabbed me, and so when I looked, I didn't see it. I got immediately right back up, ran all the way home, and then stood in my front yard and stared at this big open field for the longest time, trying to see if I could see it, and I don't know, maybe it was just seeing what would happen. Like if I would have taken a step towards it, would we have hugged? Would he have ripped me in half? I have no idea. I mean, I just don't.
Did you make eye contact with the creature?
Oh yeah, like I said, we stared at each other. If I were an artist and I could draw, trust me, my stick figures don't do it justice. But if I could draw this thing's face, chest. I could draw this thing. I can see it.
Glad you mentioned that. Talk a little bit about the face. Would you describe this thing as looking more like an animal or looking more like a man, a human?
Well, like I told Bigfoot Odyssey, it looked like an old drawing or an old painting of like a Native American, kind of protruding chin, like you see him and it's the side of the face and protruding chin and, the prominent nose, except the nose on this thing was a little flatter, but, covered in hair. So, our human brains, if we see something like that, our human brains go, that's a bear, that's a monkey, that's, whatever, covered in, that's an animal. But, looking at this thing's face, staring at this thing's face, I mean, looking into his eyes, there has to be some sort of human or something. There was something there that was very relatable to this thing is thinking, this thing's looking at me, wondering either what I am or, whatever. But there was no like communication. Like, I couldn't say, hi, how you doing? And it said, doing good. How are you? There was definitely something animal about it, but definitely just a human. I mean, we can look at each other right now and I know you're thinking about something, I know you've got feelings. I know you've got, the wheels are turning, and that's how this thing looked. It wasn't like how I look at my dog and, not really know what it's thinking. Not that I really knew what this thing was thinking, but, the wheels were turning and you could see that.
Yeah, wow, that's interesting. So you think that just looking at the eyes, that you could tell that it has some kind of humanity to it. Do you feel like it was more than just a creature?
Absolutely. I mean, this thing was definitely thinking. Obviously, it was down there. I say playing in the water. It's hot. I mean, I don't know. I didn't see any squirrels down there playing in the water because it was hot. You know what I mean? It was, and like I said, with no facial expression, it didn't smile at me, didn't stick its tongue out, didn't even really move his lips or nose or anything. We stared at each other, two eyes looking at two eyes. And then, I obviously looked at the rest, and I'm sure he looked at the rest, but, I wasn't standing there naked either. So,
Okay. Hey, Chris, getting back to the description of this thing. Now, you said that you could actually tell that it was a male. Was there any genitalia present? I mean, could you see that?
Yes. It was dark. It was, dark brown, dark black, whatever color the skin really was. I don't know, about that much hung down out of the hair, and then the actual, I don't know how you want to say it, the nads, basically. You could see them hanging, just the bottom of them just hanging out from under the hair. Yeah, I mean, I can see them. I can draw it.
Yeah, leave it to Ricky to make everybody out here uncomfortable.
Oh, when I was on Finding Bigfoot, Bobo, there was a bunch of kids around, and he pulled me aside and asked me out loud, what does junk look like? And I was like, I looked around, I was like, there's a bunch of kids here, man. Like what do you want me to say? So,
Mr. Duckworth there has another question. Did you notice that the color of his eyes?
They were dark. They were kind of orangish, amberish, like a dark. But that, like, I can see this thing. I can see this thing when I close my eyes. I can see, and I was focused more on face, the chin, the nose. Like I said, I could see the skin through the hair in some parts where the hair was thin, and we've all seen Halloween. Somebody's got a mask on, and you look at the eyes, and they kind of look out of place. I didn't see any whites. I know they were dark and they were kind of orangish, but it was like, to me, like, I wasn't necessarily interested in the eyes. I mean, if I were out in the woods today and saw one, I would pay so close attention to, the lips and the nose and the eyes, and is it saying anything? Is it moving? At this point, it was, I'm looking at this thing up and down, but, I'm so scared. And at the same time, I'm really not sure. I mean, what am I supposed to look at here? This thing's huge, and yeah. What should I focus on and what should I not? It all seemed like it happened so fast. Even though, like I said, I can close my eyes, I dream about this thing all the time. I can see it right now, and I wish I could, like, somehow project it on the wall and say, this is exactly what I saw through my eyes, and I've had, like, several years to go over it and think about it. And yeah, I just don't know what you're really supposed to focus on,
Yeah, I mean, that's a really, really good point. And, I think you handled it the way any of us would. I mean, people ask all the time, well, if you saw one of these things, why didn't you get a picture of it? Because you're not thinking about a picture. I mean, what are you thinking about? It's like you said, You don't know what to focus on. What are you supposed to focus on in a moment like this? You're seeing something that people have told you your whole life doesn't exist, and now you're seeing that they were all wrong. How are you supposed to handle that?
And the thing is, so when I was 15, they really didn't have cell phones. You had those big, bulky black Nokias with the, everybody had, but, they didn't have cameras. They didn't have anything. And I'm telling you, standing there or even thinking about it today, would I have been able to pull out a camera? There's no way. I didn't even know I ran away. So how am I going to pull a camera out? You just can't do it. Now, maybe now that I've seen them, if I had an opportunity where it, a long enough maybe sighting to where I could go, okay, yeah, that is another one of those. Let me pull my camera out. Maybe, but not your first time, and certainly not. I mean, there's no way.
Yeah. Okay. So that was your first encounter when you were 15. And how many of you had? You've had two eyewitness or visual?
I've had two visuals, two eyewitness
So what about
sightings.
your next one?
It was last July,
Okay.
2019, around 2 a.m., also in Springfield, just a couple of miles from where I had my first one. And I was driving down a highway, and this figure was standing over the shoulder, tall. He was only in my headlights for a little bit. I say he. I don't know. I didn't see too many details. I had eye reflection from it, though, and the eye reflection was like white, almost reflector, but it was only in my headlights for a second. I'm hauling down a highway, so. But the hair on this one was like nasty dreadlock looking. And it was almost, to me, it was almost like it was bundled up, like with its head down, and I just saw the eyes, and the hair. I immediately flipped around. I've got a high-powered spotlight. I went up and down that ditch area looking for this thing, and then it spooked me to where. So there's a highway and then a big ditch, probably, I don't know, 40 feet or so, 45 feet, and then a tree line. And I was out looking around, looking for prints, looking for where this thing was standing or whatever. And then it hit me. This thing's behind me in the tree line. What am I doing out here alone? Then it kind of hit me like, I'm going back to my car.
So you actually got out of your car?
Oh yeah.
Wow. Brave man.
Well, but like I said, I was on a highway. There was the occasional car driving by. I felt remotely safe until I realized this thing's probably in the tree line staring at me, and I'm staring out here. I'm standing out here. What am I doing out here?
Were you on the interstate?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I had no problem turning around and looking because this whole subject has consumed me, and if I can get a good look at one of these things again, if I could possibly muster up the courage to get one on camera or whatever, I'm going to try. And, I thought, okay, well, maybe I can get this thing running off, maybe, but no, I mean, in the split second that I turned around, it was gone. And, then I started wondering, well, did I see it? Did I really see what I saw? But there wasn't a tree or a shrub or anything along the side of that road other than the tree line that, I mean, there's no way. I don't know. There's no way. The way I tell people is if I would have been riding in the passenger side with the window down, I could have easily reached out and grabbed this thing. It was that close to the road. So it being that close to the road and there's no trees or shrubs or anything like that, then there was something there. It was standing there. It just happened to be gone. And I try to be a skeptic, a huge skeptic. The footprints I find, everything. I mean, I try to debunk anything that I find, and I go over, that encounter in my mind a lot too. And there wasn't, like I said, there wasn't a tree or a bush there. Whatever I saw was huge. and it was there and it was gone in the time it took me to hit my brakes and turn around. I don't know.
So, did you get a chance to get an estimate on height?
I didn't at that time. So I had been driving an SUV for several years, big, high up, jacked up, riding high, as I like to say. And I blew the motor in that. And so I was in a little Ford Focus, like literally sitting on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And the time that I saw this thing in my headlights as I passed, I couldn't tell you. I was sitting on the ground,
Yeah.
Had I been higher up in my SUV, I might have been able to tell you, but
Yeah.
things
That's a
are
hard
different
question.
when you're sitting on the ground. It looked tall, but it didn't look. I don't know. It didn't look huge like the first one. I mean, it definitely wasn't as tall as that, but I was sitting on the ground, so I don't know.
Okay, Ricky, you got anything?
No other. Well, going back to your first sighting when you said when you were 15, with the encounter with that one, did you happen to experience any type of mind speak with this creature? I know you said that you had lost track of time there. Do you think it was a creature that might have projected this, or?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't remember anything. I don't remember, in going back and thinking about it, it was, I saw it, it stepped out, and then I fell down. It was like, in between there, I really don't remember anything, it's creepy in itself that, there was a time there where I don't even remember thinking anything. Like it was just, I don't know. Like
I don't know that.
my mind went blank. Everything went dark for that little bit of time there from the step to the fall. There's nothing there I remember.
That's so interesting to me. And I've heard it before. People tend to lose time, or that's the best way I can think to say it is lose time. I don't know if there's a more technical term for it or not, but you don't know if maybe that's just your brain's way of helping you cope with something, or I don't know. But that's really interesting that you
Well,
don't remember.
Adrenaline,
Yeah.
extreme fear, that'll do it. And your body will protect you. If you ever get in a car accident, or I'll even go as far as you're out playing baseball and the ball tips off the bat and comes towards your face, you see it in slow motion, before it hits you, or before you catch it. There's that second or split second, everything slows down. And it could be, it could be your mind saying, you're not going to remember this, you're freaked out, or, this is all happening so fast that will just block you from it. But other than that, like, I can't explain, exactly,
Now,
because I don't remember. If I could have seen movement or something, or remember, okay, well, this thing went ahead and took another step or reached towards me or whatever, but I wasn't there technically to remember it, or whatever. But no, there was that just a time where my mind goes blank.
did you tell anybody about the encounter?
I did not. Me being
And
a
why is
city
that?
kid, being a city kid, I didn't want anybody to know. It was scary, So growing up there, my parents would like to have the windows open in the springtime and early summer. and I would hear screams coming from the woods there. And I would always shut the window. And then I'd always get yelled at for shutting the window because it was hot, you know, and you got to get airflow through the house with the attic fan and whatever. I had really kind of pushed this to the back of my mind. And then about 15 years later, I was about 30. I was doing healthcare work for like a couple blocks from my home that we grew up in. And one night I was sitting out in the garage. It was a hot night, and I could hear screams coming from the woods, the same screams that I'd hear as a kid. You know, wah, wah, you know, just continuous loud. And I remember, and then basically all these memories come flooding back of, holy crap, I've heard that before. Oh my goodness, do you remember that time in the woods when you come up on this thing? It was almost like I kept everything, you know, deep down inside because I really didn't have anybody to tell. And then reliving, hearing those screams, the goosebumps on my arms coming up, you know, just the feeling of being terrified, you know, and at this time, the subdivision had been, you know, built up, you know, it's not like I was alone out in the woods, but it was, everything really flooded back. And that's really when I got into this, you know, I can't drive past that area without looking in the woods. And I've driven past that area at least, I don't know, 5 or 6 times a week, every week since I was 15. I mean, you know, I look off in there thinking that whatever that is standing in there waiting for me to come back, you know. And I plan on going back and doing like a recreation video or like a walkthrough video of my sighting and everything. But I said that a few years ago, and I stood on the edge of the wood line, and I was armed with a pistol, and I could not step into that tree line to save my life. So
yeah, that was going to be my next question. That was going to be my next question is, have you been back to that area? So I guess you just answered it.
Yeah, no, like I said, I can drive past that area, but I always have to stare into the woods there along that creek. Almost like to see it waving at me or something, you know, like I expect to see something.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was armed and I wanted to go in and I could not. I was so scared to even step foot into that wood line that I haven't been back. And I keep saying, I'm going to go back. And now I've got some other researchers here in Missouri that say, we will go with you, which is cool.
Yeah.
I plan on going back this year and I plan on filming it. But as of right now, no, you know?
Yeah. That's what I was going to suggest is, you know, don't go back alone. You know, you got too many bad memories from that spot, but you know, you're making a name for yourself out in Missouri, and I know that you've got other researchers that you're working with, and you can find somebody to go in there with you. Don't go alone, you know, and like before we came on, the three of us, me, you, and Ricky were talking, and Ricky had just recently done some solo camping, and we were talking about that, and boy, Ricky, you're braver than I am, buddy. I mean, if I can give advice to people out there, don't go in the woods unarmed, and try not to go alone. You know, the missing 411 books are out there for a reason, you know, because there are so many cases out there of people going missing, people that's been doing this their whole life that were very well versed in outdoors and survival and stuff like that, and then they're just gone, and we don't know what happened to them. So, Ricky, listen to me. Quit doing that. Understand?
Yeah, I've hunted and camped these mountains in North Georgia for years and years. Like I said, you know, I've had encounters. luckily thus far, it's been nothing that has really come down to a really threatening nature. But yeah, I'm with you, Wayne. As far as if you know if you know these things are used in an area, please, folks, don't go in there by yourself.
Well,
And go armed.
you say you haven't had a threatening encounter. If I go to the woods, every little twig snap, every little rustle of the leaves, every time the wind blows and the trees kind of click each other, I'm looking all over the place. It doesn't have to be, a scary encounter. I'm looking. I cannot not look.
Yeah,
if that
and
makes
you
sense.
had
Yes, I'll agree completely with that, Chris. But if you do this type of investigations like we do, the research, you have to have a certain you have to maintain a certain composure to yourself about it. As the mind frame that I have, I've had I've had rocks thrown at me with these things. I've had all kind of wild encounters, but you know, I guess I just keep it. I keep it in the back of my mind. This is something that I've got to do. It's something that I'm out there to do, and whatever takes place takes place.
And I agree with that. But I'll get like the random squirrel that'll hop in the leaves and a crunch, 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 and I'll go, oh my God, there's something walking, or I don't know. It's not like a scary thing. It just, every thing that makes a noise, I wonder, is that one standing there looking at me? Is that one walking off in the distance?
And we all know that 99.999% of the time it's not. It's not a Bigfoot. There's so many other things that it could be, and that is. It's just that one tiny millionth of a percent that it could be that gets your blood going.
And you don't want to be facing one way doing something if the big guy's standing behind you watching you.
Yeah.
I'd rather be aware. I'd rather be aware, even if I did keep my composure and say, okay, well, Big Bob's over there walking around, but I'm going to play it cool. I'd rather know he's over there than just play it off as, that's a squirrel, and just keep,
Yeah. All right. Well, we got a few minutes left. Chris, talk a little bit about your research that you've been doing, the Missouri Bigfoot Group. Now, you and I talked at length last night for quite a while about some of the stuff you've been running into, and it sounds like you've been finding a lot of tracks out there.
Quite a few tracks, a lot of tree breaks, structures, a lot of X's, a lot of big X's that are definitely, or they definitely don't look natural, and they're like way up high. So it's like two trees that are, or let's say one tree and then a branch from another tree someplace else placed or woven in. A lot of stuff like that. If you're out in the woods, there's quite a few vocalizations out here too. I'm never good enough to get them on recording. But we talked about, I've taken a lot of pictures of tracks. I don't always have, casting material with me or anything with me in general. So, I'm glad we have cell phones that can do that. And normally it's just, the weather gets warmer, people are out fishing, people are out camping, and I will get a message on Facebook, hey, was doing some research. Your group popped up. I need to tell you about a camping trip I went on last week, or or whatever. I mean, and that's what it's about. If people are aware, I didn't have anybody to talk to. So if somebody's out camping or fishing and sees one of these things and then feels like they're going crazy and they need to talk to somebody, come talk to me. I'm not going to laugh. In fact, if you can take me out to where it was or give me directions to where it was, I will go that day or within a day or two and go and check this area out. And, yeah, the less we as researchers can make fun of other people, or the more open mind. Like Ricky, you said something about mind speak earlier. I watched a show a few weeks ago about mind speak, and I went to every one of these areas out where I work, which are out by a lake, but out in the middle of nowhere pretty much. And I said out loud, I am open to mind speak. If you can do it, you know who I am. I'm here every night. Please do it. And I tried to have an open mind about it. I never got anything. Now, does that mean anything, or does that, or not? I don't know. May not mean anything. They may not have been there when I said that. I don't know. But I try to have an open mind. As much as I believe what I believe, which they're flesh and blood, whether they can mind speak or not, I don't know. But I've never seen a UFO or an orb, or I've never seen one just disappear or come out of a portal, but not saying that they can't. I don't know. But, from what I saw and what I've experienced, they're these either really intelligent animal or a branch off of us somehow, a human monkey hybrid. I don't know. Could be something completely different. I don't know. But from what I experienced, they seem to be flesh and blood, but I don't know.
Yeah, and that's our stance as a group. Ricky and I and our other members is we try to look at this as more on the biological side. It's a flesh and blood creature. It eats, it poops, it has to have water, and they have, I believe they have families, family structures. But at the same time, like you said, you put it good, that you have to keep an open mind, because if one person tells you that they encountered something, you have to look into it. And there are so many people out there that talk about the mind speak and stuff like that. And we had a guy on, I think it was our second or third show. I think it was our third, Kakalaki. The guy's got a big following. He's a real good guy. Him and his wife came on, and he swears up and down that he talks to these things on a regular basis, and he communicates with them. And who am I to say that he's full of it? I mean, I'm nobody. And I mean, from what I've seen from him, the guy seems honest. He seems legit. Seems like he's a really good guy. So you have to keep that open mind.
Right. Well, and I look at it. I talked to a psychic medium one time, and I just blatantly asked her, so when you talk to ghosts, is it like you and I talking, or is it in your head? And she said, no, you can see, the person in your mind and hear them, but it's in your head most of the time. I mean, and so I got to thinking, well, if that's like mind speak, honestly, then that could be how, these people, they're looking at a tree line, they see an image of a Bigfoot in their head, and this thing's talking to them. Maybe, who am I? We don't have the technology yet, I don't think, to even, this is the show me state. Missouri's a show me state. If these things can fly, these things are aliens. You're going to have to show me the ship. You got to show me. Not that I won't, I'm not going to laugh at you. I'm not going to make fun of you. But, I got to see it. I want to see it.
Yeah, yeah, very, very well said. Very well said. Chris, buddy, I can't thank you enough. We've had you scheduled for a while, been talking off and on, and I'm glad we got it done, buddy. Good show. I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate it. It's always fun, always a pleasure.
Yeah. And Chris, thank you very much. Thoughts on the Sasquatch with us tonight in your encounter, and keep up the good work, buddy. And hey, you're welcome to come back on the show anytime and present new evidence as you find it.
Absolutely. I'll keep in touch.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Have a good one, buddy.
You too. Thank you.
All right, Rick. Just me and you now. Good show. Chris was quite knowledgeable, and that encounter he had when he was 15, boy, I tell you, that's something. That's weird, isn't it? A lot of the things he talked about I've heard before, so I 100% believe him.
Oh yeah. And as far as going back to the mind speak on that, and Chris saying that there was a lapse in time there where he really didn't know what took place from the time this thing done its actual encounter, or he had his actual encounter until he got back to his house. I don't know. This is a new field for me as far as the mind speak is concerned, and I don't know if something like that may have taken place with him or what the deal was, but it's something that really fascinates me anyway.
Yeah, me too. Great participation from the audience tonight too. Had a few real good questions. Todd hit us with a couple good ones, and Blake Duckworth did too. And I believe we got Blake coming up here Sunday night, don't we? We're going to do a show with him.
We had Sunday night. We had him scheduled for Sunday night, but he came back on and asked me if we could do it for Saturday night. So I don't know what your plans are for Saturday night, but
actually, I go back to work tomorrow night, and I'll be working 4 days, so I might be able to come on either of those days. I like to keep it on Sunday, but if Saturday's what works for him, then yeah, we'll try to make that happen.
okay.
But like I said, I'll be working, so I might be able to come on. We'll get Walls to come on for sure, and I might be able to do it from work from my phone.
Yeah,
I won't be able
to schedule Walls to help me out on it, and we'll go from there. And then if you can join us, that'll be great.
Okay, yeah, I won't be able to host it because I can't do that from a phone, but you have all the capabilities to host. So if I come on, I'll just do it from the phone, and I'll just be in your shoes or be in Walls' shoes. So
All right.
yeah, that'll work. That'll work. But again, what we were saying, great participation from the audience tonight. Really appreciate it, guys. Joseph Blake Duckworth saying he can do it Sunday. It don't matter, buddy. If you want to do it Saturday, we can make that happen for you. I got somebody else planned to come up that can only do it on a Sunday too. So we're looking at another one on March 15th. But yeah, that's stuff me and you will get together on. You got anything else before we get off here tonight, Ricky?
No, again, other than folks, just please, if you're going to go out and try to encounter these things, just keep in mind that these are wild animals. They're wild creatures. And as with all wild creatures, you really don't know what's in their minds. We really don't know what type of mood they're in, are going to be in, or going to get in. We don't know what really triggers aggression as far as these things are concerned. So please just be careful out there.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Again, want to thank Mr. Chris Kleier for coming on. Really appreciate it. And like I said, he's welcome back anytime. Um, all right, I guess that's just about it. I want to thank everybody for stopping in. Thank all the people that are going to watch it down the road. And Ricky, if you ain't got nothing else, we'll get out of here.
All right, man. Everybody, thanks for watching. And again, please go on and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also check out our Facebook page. Hit us up on it. Hit us up on our Mannimal Research, and just let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, just real quick before we get off here, you got the mannimalresearch.com. Guys, go on there and hit either me, Ricky, or Walls up with your encounters. And if you want to come on a episode of the show, we'll get you on. If you want to stay private, we can do that too. Just let us know. That's the important thing. Get your story out there. Guys, we appreciate it. And y'all be good to each other. See you next time.
See you next time, guys.